It's the final day of summer and we are going to be doing a lot more harvesting today. Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Seasons in the Valley. So we're driving our combine up so that we can attack field 52 first of all. We're going to cut that and we're going to bale all the straw, and we're also going to attack field 91 if we get the time as well. And you'll notice there is no longer a silo in front of us where the tractor is parked up. I've sold that silo, I've transferred all of the wood chips over to the sawmill, and I've put in a couple of these storage bins instead. I felt these were probably a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic, that's the wrong word. They fit better in terms of being a storage for a single crop, because I'm only going to be storing wood chips in those. Of course, they do only hold 300,000 litres as opposed to 500,000 litres, so as we had around 380,000 litres, we did need to buy two of them, but they are now in place, and all of our wood chips are stored nicely in there. So let's drop the header trailer off. Spin around. I'm going to need to do something with the space. I'm thinking some more greenhouses. I'm also thinking we're going to have to probably check those towards the end of the day and top those up again. They might be running low on water. But first things first, we're going to get underway with our wheat harvest. Get all that straw in. So because we most recently did a harvest with canola, that should, I think, default this to straw swathing being turned off. So let's open up the help window, and it is, so let's enable that. There we go. Let's close the window, get rid of the mini map, and I'm going to do a border around the field. There's our straw coming out. We'll need to windrow the straw because we're going to have a lot of it in very narrow rows that are quite close together. So we'll have to windrow all that straw before we can start baling it, otherwise it'll take us an eternity to bale. Each bale will take a long time to make, and we'll be making multiple trips up and down the field that we just don't need to. And because it's quite a big field, as you can see, you know, it's just a waste of our time. If we don't windrow it, it'll save so much time. But I'm hoping we're going to get a really good yield. We've got 50,000 litres of canola when we did our canola harvest. I'm hoping we can get, you know, a really, really high yield on our wheat. I think 100,000 litres may possibly be pushing it, but then again, it is a lower yield, sorry, a lower priced, higher yield crop, so maybe 100,000 litres isn't beyond the realms of possibility. I suppose we'll see how quickly we can fill up the first trailer, and then we can kind of make a judgment call from there as to how much we're looking at getting. But I'm going to estimate somewhere between 75 and 100,000 litres off this field, because it is a good sized field, and as I say, it is a high volume, low value crop compared to canola. And we have a capacity of, I think, 6,400 litres with this combine, or somewhere in that region. And already we're at 40% full, and all we've done is a thin line around the edge. We haven't even completed one side of the field yet. So as I say, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that that is kind of a total that we could get. You can see those are the fields there that we did some work for the farmer that owns them, where we planted and fertilised on those fields. It'd be nice to add those to our collection next year. Obviously, finances are not great at the moment. We have 850,000 euros of debt, which is a very high amount. And that has gone up slightly with the purchase of those extra silos and not getting a full return value on the one that we sold. Because it's a placeable, we only got half the price of it back, so 12.5 grand, and the other two cost us 50 to place. So yeah, it's definitely cost us some money to do it that way, but I think in the long run it's going to look better, it's going to work better, and it just makes more sense to have wood chip storage at the lumberyard. So I'll run along the top here as well. Again, I want to have a little bit of turning room so we're not backing onto the road every single time we turn around. I might need to put 2 headlands in on this side of the field here. You can see those shadows kind of dancing across the field as the sunlight pokes through the trees. It does sometimes give us a little bit of extra slowdown when we do have those sort of shadows dancing through the map, but you kind of forgive it because god damn, it looks so good. It really does. You can kind of forgive a little bit of a frame rate drop. So yeah, we'll put this second headland in up here. We won't need to do it at the other end, obviously, because we have a large open space for us to turn in. But here, I don't want to be constantly backing into the road every time I want to turn around. And if you look at our fill level, we are almost full. So, I need to figure out how I'm going to do this worker-wise, and I think the best way for us to do this is going to be running down from the top end all the way down and then all the way back up again, and then working across that way once we've finished the other bit. I think that might be the best way for us to do this. So I need to create a little path for us to be able to drive our tractor down when it comes to unloading, which means doing this inside edge. We are going to end up filling up any moment now, so I'm going to have to stop, go grab the tractor, come and do an unload. It's going to happen any second now, actually. There we go, we are full. So let's put on the handbrake, pipe out. Let's actually, while I'm here, I can show you the changed bits to the silo. So here's all those logs that we had that we've cut down over there. You can see they're all stacked up here, ready and waiting for the winter sell off. We'll sell some of these as lumber, I think, and some will probably chip. Here's our 2 silos. The ground does dip away just here, but they've been able to place these just about so that we can back up to the edge of this and tip into there. Plus we can also put the wood chipper so that it unloads hopefully directly into one of these as well. Why did I come over here? Oh, it's literally just to show you that, because I'm tabbing through to try and find the T7. There it is. So I'm going to have to take the long way around. In fact, actually, we can take a bit of a sneaky shortcut. We can cut down here. And then around the bottom of field 91, off the road and back on again. Or just cut through the trees like this, actually, this would work. It's bumpy over here, isn't it? Which trailer am I using? Yes, I'm using the right trailer. This is the 34,000 litre Brantner Power Push. This is the one that I wanted. I used the larger trailer, which is a 46,000 litre capacity. I used that to transport all of our wood chips. Let's get the engine back on. let's get back underway again. So yeah, the plan is going to be to kind of run from the top all the way down and then back up again and do all of that section, and then we'll start at that end of the field and run across the field like that, and that'll leave us with this little triangular section here that we're kind of working at the moment, and this will then obviously disappear a little bit. You know, we'll have to work that separately manually. But I do want to get, you know, a worker to give us a hand again, so that's going to be the easiest way to do that, I think. In terms of debt, you know, per day, in terms of costs, it's around about nearly 5,000 at the moment. We had about 1,200 euros, I think, at the start of the day, or just before midnight, and then obviously midnight's ticked over. We haven't purchased anything. We haven't paid for any seed or fertilizer in that time. We haven't, you know, paid any workers, and we're currently at 3,500 debt. So, as I say, we're losing nearly 5,000 a day at the moment in costs, but we are on the verge of making a nice bit of money. Obviously, we're starting to work our crops, which is good. This is where we need to be. Once we're in a position where we can start selling our crops, and in terms of wheat, let's take a look at wheat. The optimal kind of time to sell wheat is going to be the middle of winter, by the look of this. You know, assuming we don't get a great demand pop up, you know, in the before or after window period. Our barley, which is the next field for us to harvest, is going to be again about the same kind of time, early to mid-winter. Our canola also early to mid-winter. We do have our soybean and our corn that is still growing, and for that we're looking next summer for the soybean. You can see there's a very definite opportunity for us to sell midsummer that it's way higher than anywhere else in the rest of the year, and kind of the same for corn as well. So those two crops, they're going to be sort of in storage for the best part of a year, but we are getting ever closer to our wood chip point as well. Again, we're talking midwinter. We're at the lowest possible point right now in terms of value of our wood chips, but it is going to start skyrocketing over the coming weeks and months, to the point where midwinter is when we're going to make a lot of money, both in terms of our wood chips and our other crops as well. So we just kind of need to survive through autumn, and we have all those silage bales as well, don't forget. So we will start selling those off very soon as well. That'll help bring our money up and reduce our debt down a bit. And once we're in that position, you know, we should go into the winter with a bit of a healthier bank balance and the chance to have a real impact on reducing our debt down, at least enough to be able to buy some additional fields. So next year we'll still be struggling financially, but we'll have more land that we can work, so we'll be able to bring in a higher yield of income at the end of that year. That is kind of the forward planning with this farm. You know, there are very few farmers that are not in some kind of debt in real life. It's always a constant juggling act. I mean, there is money to be made, but there's also a lot of money that needs to be spent to make that money. And so we are kind of emulating that in a way with this huge debt that we have to kind of get us started. We're going to keep working and working and trying to bring that debt down to a more manageable level, but at the same time we are going to have to keep you know, spending money to acquire more land so that we can make more money in the future. It's a balancing act, it's a juggling act, and if we can get it right, then we can do quite a lot going forward. Let's just tag the unload here. And we'll leave our worker to his straw. Making some pretty good time on this field, as you can see. Already we are halfway through this first part of the field. And we're getting a decent return as well. I don't think maybe we'll hit 100,000. I think I was perhaps being a little optimistic there, but you know, I think 75,000 litres is an achievable target. You can see we're up to... Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is achievable. I mean, when you consider we've got 25,000 there, you'd have to assume that we've got another 20,000 still on this part of the field in terms of amount of crop remaining. And then you've got maybe the same amount over there, so maybe another 40 to 50,000 over there. I don't know, maybe we will get close to 100,000, but yeah, it's coming along quite nicely. I've brought the other tractors over, as you can see. Got the T5 ready with the windrower and the T6 ready with the baler, so that once we've completed this downhill section, we can start windrowing and baling that while the while the worker continues to harvest that section of the field over there. And that way we can try and speed up our baling process a little bit, because we're going to have a lot of bales to make. Some of which we're going to store, some of which we're going to sell off. And I have kind of been toying with the idea of maybe not using the barn and actually putting in a placeable over here for some bales. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not yet, but I do kind of like the idea of having the bales easy to get to when it comes to actually using them for feed and stuff. And where they are at the moment, it's great they're in storage, but it's maybe not the best place for ease of access for getting them back out again. So I don't know, I'm toying with the idea of maybe plonking in, if I can find them, one of these Euro tunnels. Something like this I think would be quite good. I mean, these are for pallets, but we can also put bales in there as well. So I don't know, I may possibly, you know, have a bale storage area up here to replace where the silo was. I'll have to give that a little bit more thought, I think. And as we crest this hill for the final time, this is the final part of this section of the field that is now done. So once we've got this done, as I say, we can kind of turn our attention to working across the field the other direction, and that will allow us to start windrowing and baling on this section. At least that is the plan anyway. I am a little concerned that maybe the windrow the baler will trip over the will spit bales out in front of where the harvester needs to go, so I'll have to be very careful where I actually do some of my baling. But you can see we've got these nice windrows here for us to work with, these nice rows of straw for us to windrow together, and then that'll make it much quicker and easier to bale. So now I'm going to set the worker loose this way, get him working across the field. Going to need to do another unload actually. He's pretty much full, or he will be by the time he gets to the other end of the field. So let's get him started. A little bit inside actually, but never mind. Let's jump to the T7. You can see we're up to 30,000. We've only got space for another 4,000, so, or less than that. So we're not going to get a full empty on this, but we do kind of need to make sure that the combine can stay running. There's the 80% warning that's just tripped. So we'll get a partial unload on him, enough to at least keep him running while we go dump the grain, come back, and then maybe do a proper unload next time around. And then we can start windrowing. So we didn't get as much as I thought we'd do off that first section. You know, 35,000 as opposed to maybe 45,000. So I am going to revise back down to somewhere between 60 and 75,000 now as to the kind of yield we're going to get off this field. It's not quite as big a field as well, which I think is where I tripped up. I was going off the same kind of size of field as the canola and that is by far the largest field that we have right now. But you know, that is harvestable. So you can stick a little bit more in here. Oh, I thought we had a 34,000 litre capacity. It looks like it's 36. It is, it's 36. So that's not too bad then. We actually managed to get an extra couple of thousand in that I wasn't expecting. So let's run up the side of the field. Time-wise, we're making really good time as well. It's, what, 9:30, but we've done over half of this field already. So, as I say, the baling is going to be what takes a fair bit of time. And it's also how many bales we're going to make as well. We could conceivably hit a bale limit, which would not be good at all. If that happens, then we are going to have to make, you know, trips to sell bales. And the nearest sell point, I'm not actually sure where the nearest sell point is for straw. Let's check while we unload our grain. So let's open up the map. Where is the nearest straw sell point? We are here, so I suppose the nearest one's going to be up here actually. Actually, that's not too bad. Yeah, we've got the Raiffeisen storage area over here has actually got a straw point just there. Look, and that's not too far to go. It's literally, it's just, you know, come off this end of the field and then straight up the road, and boom, we're there. And then there's another one inside that farm area over there as well. And there's another one over here as well, I believe. Yeah, Agro Life Straw. There's another one there as well. So, is there one over here as well? No, no, Farm 2 over here. That is the that's the BGA area. So we've got 3 straw points where we can sell our straw. That's not too bad. And one of them is a pretty quick drive, actually, straight up the road. So I was worried that we might have a bit of an issue with long delays between grabbing a load of bales and then taking them to sell, but it's not that far to go. So let's get back onto the field. I need to reposition where this trailer is going to be so it's quick and easy to get to the combine. So we'll store this down the bottom of the field, then we'll come back up, we'll grab the T5, and then we'll start windrowing up all of this straw. So you can see we're only really able to get a couple of rows of straw at a time rowed up. It's not quite a wide enough working width to be able to pick up 3 rows, or at least to pick up all of 3 rows. It's a little bit... So, I don't know, what I might do is actually see if I can combine some of these rows again. Most of them are going to be a little bit too spaced out, but these ones I think I can possibly recombine into a 3rd new row. It's going to be tight. There we go, yeah, I can reposition these. I can't really do that anywhere else on the field though, unfortunately, because the working width is just that little bit too short to be able to pick up 3 rows of straw in a single pass. And I kind of want to do this bit manually. I don't want to hire a worker. So this one we've actually got a good sized windrow. This is 3 rows of straw all condensed into one, but the other ones are all doubles, so they're not quite as thick as I was hoping they were going to be. You can see there is our combine working away on the second section of the field, and we're not getting as much not getting as much wheat from that section of the field as I thought I would either. So I'm worried whether we're even going to hit 60,000 now at this point. I'm going to need to do another unload. There's the warning just popping up, but let's park there for a second. Let's switch over to the T7. I think I might just have to hire a worker and be done with it for this section of the field when it comes to windrowing, just to try and make sure it all gets scooped up as efficiently as possible. I don't know. So I have to back up with this guy, otherwise the pipe is going to end up at the wrong angle and not get back into the trailer because of this slope on the hill. But as you can see, we've only got, what, about 12,000 in here once this finishes unloading. That puts us on 42. We've got that bit there, which isn't huge, and then obviously the triangular section there. It's not a lot left on this field. I honestly thought we were going to get more wheat than this. I'm a little disappointed by how little wheat we're actually going to end up with by the look of it. So, yeah, not great. Really was hoping we'd get more than this. Let me park this up out the way over here now. And I suppose I'll carry on with the windrowing. Start working this section over here. And there you can see what I mean by not having the working width for 3 rows. It's not there. So 2 it is. Starting to get down to the nitty-gritty on this field here. It's got this tiny thin little piece that needs to be done, and then it's just the triangle section, and then that is our wheat field done. There's also a tiny little bit of wheat sticking up just there as well that I missed, and seeing as we're not getting anywhere near as much as I thought we would, I'm going to make sure I grab it. There we go. For all that was worth. Spit the straw out the back. There we go. So I need to row up that last bit there, and then obviously row up the headland as well. But the rest of the field, as you can see, is road. So we'll be able to start baling very, very soon indeed. But I want to get this section done first. And we're going to do this manually, simply because it's going to be awkward to try and do this with a worker. So I'll get this bit done, then we can move the combine over to this field here. We can again try and get a worker to do some of it for us, and then we'll have to kind of mop up around after him, and while that's going on we can start baling. So I've made a kind of an executive decision. I'm actually going to wait until this field is baled before I start working on the next one. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, especially if we get a snap weather change and we start getting some rain. It means that we run the risk of losing some of this straw. So we'll get this field finished, then we'll move on to the next one. So time for us to make a load of straw bales. Well, look at that. We have a great demand for wood chips. It's only for 6 hours, but as we know, this is the worst possible time of the year to sell wood chips, so I'm guessing that price, even with a great demand, is going to be terrible. Let me get to the top here. That's quite a bit of a steep little hill there. Right, so let's turn the baler off. Spin around, get lined up for the next move, and let's check that price. 219. Yeah, that's terrible. You know, I don't care if we have a great demand right now, but we don't anywhere else in the year because it's just so low compared to what we're going to get in just a couple of months' time that it's just not worth it. So we'll let that one pass, I think. Okay, so we've got the last of the straw off this field. Just missed a clump there. Had some real issues with this baler. It's just, these hills are so steep that this little T6 just can't cope with the weight of this baler. So I think we might have to get rid of the T5, relegate the T6 to the light duties like the spraying and stuff, because we can fit narrows on this, and get a second T7, because this just can't cope. I mean, I'm going to eject this bale here, but watch how much I slow down with the baler turned off, just trying to get up this hill. And now imagine I've got the thing turned on and I'm trying to pull up there. I was doing like 3 miles an hour on parts of this field, which is just way too slow. So, yeah, I think next year we might have to get rid of the T5, relegate the T6 to the light duties and get a second T7. That's assuming that we have the funds for it, of course. You know, I do think more land is more important than, you know, a more powerful tractor. So it kind of depends on that situation, really. But at least now we can start work on our barley. Start bringing in our barley harvest. And then from there, we'll be able to do some more baling, and we'll see what the bale limit is, because as I said, I have heard rumours that the bale limit has been upped to 250, although I haven't actually hit a bale limit for quite some time because I haven't done baling in that volume for a very long time. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what that limit is, if it has improved or if it's still 200. So I'm going to do a border, and then we'll actually check the bale count, see exactly how many bales we've got made, and that'll count in obviously all the silage bales and the hay bales that we have, as well as these straw bales on here, and see where we are right now and see where we hit the limit. Okay, so we're taking a look here, and you can see towards the bottom on the left hand side, underneath fertilizer usage litres, we have created bales, and we've made 49 so far in this session. So we have 49 bales of straw and 128 bales in total. That's across our hay bales and our silage bales, combined with those brand newly created straw bales. So that's quite a lot, but it's still a long way short of hitting the limit. So yeah, we'll be baling all this stuff up, you know, as soon as we can. As you can see, it's a really odd-shaped field in here, and we're going to struggle with the baler in here as well. So I'm going to use the T7 in here, just because these hills are really quite steep in places in this field, and that little T6 just will not cope. So not in here anyway. So we'll have to break out the T7 for that, I think. Let's see kind of how much barley we end up with off this field. And I didn't actually check to see exactly how much we made with our wheat, it's not as much as I was hoping it's going to be. That much I do know. I don't even want to make an estimate on this field. I have absolutely no idea what it could be. I don't know, maybe 40,000 perhaps at the most. It's not going to be a lot, but yeah, when we get to the end here and we finish the unload, let's see exactly how much wheat we've got in our silo now. So let's just park here for a second. And we have 58,000, and about 8,000 of that was probably already in there, so we've made maybe 50,000 litres. Oh wait, no, that was canola, wasn't it? I was looking at the canola. I don't even think we made that much. Oh, 62,231 litres of wheat, so not bad, but I reckon we probably had about 6,000 to 8,000 litres of wheat already in there, so we're probably talking around 54,000 litres to 56,000 litres. It's not bad income, but I would have liked to have perhaps seen a little bit more than that. Almost done with this field, almost full on capacity as well. I think I can just about squeeze 400 litres into the tank here. We don't even have anywhere near that left on the field, look. Well, there we go, that's another field harvested. That's everything down here harvested now, so all we have to do now is wait for the rest of our crops to actually grow. So our corn and our soybean. Let's just take a quick look, actually. Yeah, they're still growing. Look, they're not ready yet. It's going to be autumn before they're ready. But there we go. We have our barley crop harvested now. So let's see how much we've actually ended up with in total for barley. Did we actually put any into the silo? I honestly don't know. Maybe we didn't. We're certainly not going to get the 40,000 that I kind of rashly predicted that we might get. Do we have anything? No, we haven't put any barley in there, so not a very high yield on this field either, but it's a small field, so you know, it's kind of, at least we know kind of what our benchmarks are going to be potentially for next year. You know, the crops were nice and dry. We've not had any rain for a good couple of days, so we haven't had to worry about, you know, moisture reducing our yield. You know, we've had a very, very good yield in terms of weather-wise. So now it's a question of baling up, windrowing and baling up all this straw in here. See how many bales we end up with in total. We made, what, 49 bales on that field there, so I think we'll probably make somewhere between 20 and 30 on this field. It's a decent amount of straw. So we're not even going to get close to the 200 bale limit. That's kind of cool. That's kind of fine. We'll sell some of these bales. We'll store some of them and then we'll sell them. So what I think I'll do is I'll probably end up saving the bales that are on this field and then selling all the bales on that field just there. It depends how many we make off that field there. So let's fold up the combine. Let's put the header back on the trailer. Let's get it lined up. There we go. And then we can actually take this and put this away a little bit later. We'll give it a quick wash down as well with the pressure washer before we stick it back into the shed. Well, actually, no, it's not too bad, actually. Probably just get away with leaving it as it is. Let's take our crop, our 32,000 litres. Let's go put that into our silo, so we'll end up with around about 36 in total. It's not a bad amount, but would have been nice to have a little bit more. and then we'll start baling. And once the bales are made, I'll start selling, and we'll try and raise some cash from these straw bales. So the grain's been stored, the trailer's been put away. Also put away the windrower, and the T5 is now in the wash station ready to be cleaned up. Going to do the baling, as I said, with the T7 this time. Just because we're going to need that extra grunt, that extra horsepower on some of those slopes. The little T6 just will not cope with some of those pretty steep hills, and there aren't really any flat patches on that field at all, so it's going to be pretty one-way, or, you know, it's going to be pretty rough going anywhere on that field, I think, for the T6. So we'll do it with the T7. We'll do this lap around the edge, and then hopefully at the end of it we should see a much easier... Actually, no, I'm not going to do the full lap around the edge, because I'm just going to end up sticking bales into places where I need to turn. So let's cut in here. You can see already look how much faster we can make that turn compared to with the T6. It's still pretty slow, but it's a lot better than it was. But let's run up this hill here and just see whether or not we're struggling. Here comes the real kicker. This would pretty much cripple the T6. It would slow to 1 or 2 miles an hour. And look at that, you know, barely any noticeable drop off in speed. Just a couple of miles an hour. So yeah, the T7 is definitely the right choice for this field when it comes to doing the baling. And I think going forward, it's going to need to be, you know, the tractor of choice for future baling, just to help speed up the baling operation. So yeah, yet another reason why we could perhaps look at getting a second T7 next year. It's been a huge difference baling this field here with the T7 compared to baling that field with the T6. It's been so much faster and smoother. A much nicer experience. I think this baler, because it's like the big baler, you know, the 4,500 litre bales, it's just a little bit too big and bulky and heavy for the T6. A standard 4,000 litre baler would have been absolutely fine. You know, the single axle baler from Black Sheep would have worked no problem at all, I think, with the T6. But this one, it's just a little bit too big and bulky. It has a little bit too much weight, and it's too much for our little T6 to handle, unfortunately. So lesson learned. We know which is going to be the best one to use next year, at least on, you know, fields with rolling hills. On flatter fields where there's smoother periods, then we can get away with the T6. But for the most part, I think the T7 is going to be our baling tractor going forward. So now we need to collect the bales, and I am going to use the T6 for this. Although again, no, we'll use the T7 again, because again, the weight of pulling those bales up the field could be a little bit too much for the T6 when you're pulling, you know, 24 bales up the hill. It could be a little bit too much. So let's see just how many bales we actually have. I'm just going to back up to the trailer. There we go. And let's check and see how many we made. So bales made this session 75 for 154 in total. So we made, what, 49, so that means we've made 26. That's just over a single trailer's worth of bales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and grab the bales off this field first, get a full trailer's worth, and we're going to go and stack those near the storage area, near our barn. and then they'll get sort of shuttled in there off camera with our telehandler, and then the rest of the bales we're going to go and take and sell and try and make a little bit of cash. So I'm going to get these stacked up, and then I'll see you in a little while. It's trying to auto unload them for me. I don't like that. I don't know why it did that. Let's try and line those back up again. There we go. Right, so let's go take these to the sell point. So we need to get back onto the road. There we go, let's put our beacons on. Slow down to match the right speed, and off we go. It's not that far a trip. So it's literally just down this road, and then we are there at the sell point. We can also do a quick inspect of our soybean while we're over here as well. Oh, someone pointed out to me that I miscounted the number of silage bales. I did. I completely miscounted. I missed out an entire trailer's worth. I said we had 26, and I forgot that we had 2 trailers worth. That's actually 48, and then those 2 loose bales, so a total of 50. So I'm actually quite pleased that we do have a decent number of silage bales to sell. Certainly a lot more than I initially thought. There's the entrance to something. And here is our sell point for the bales. So let's make our way over the weighbridge. Try not to get caught on the post. Weave our way through here, and hopefully I can unload these directly into the sell point. So let's try and unload. Are they all going to get sold? I guess we'll find out. Yes, they are. Fantastic. 448 per bale as well. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. So let's make our way out of here again. Got the exit point just here. Or is this the entrance point? Oh no, this is the exit point. So, back to the field, go get some more bales, do another sell-off, and make some more money. And we're back with a second full load of bales. For those of you wondering or trying to do the quick mental maths, a full trailer of 24 bales at 448 per bale comes out at 10,752 euros. So quite a nice little return there for our straw bales. So let's sell these ones. There we go. And now we're up to 17,350 there. So this is a very nice little extra. We've got 3 bales left to go grab. So I'm going to go grab those, bring those back, and then that'll be it for the day. All of our equipment will be sort of cleaned, put away, and that'll be the end of summer as well. So when you come back next time out, we'll be moving into autumn. We'll be waiting for these crops to grow. In fact, we did actually say we'd have a quick scan, didn't we? Let's just pull off the side of the road here for a second. Hop the fence. Let's pull out and scan the soybean. You can see good moisture level at the moment, just 8%, and 67% height. So very close. Just waiting on that, say, that final little bit to get us going. So when you come back into autumn, we'll be hopefully starting to harvest those. Obviously we've got to wait for them to finish growing. We've got those silage bales to sell, and we've got fields that need to have some oilseed radish planted as well. So thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and we'll be back in autumn on Seasons in the Valley very soon.